Hey, you know how much I love microtasking, right? Hey, you know how much I love microtasking. And I wrote a blog post about a year ago about microtasking and how Zerocracy works in the microtasking mode, and all the projects have to be done like that. But in the blog post, I mentioned a few things which cannot be done through microtasking. And just a few days ago, we faced a problem in a few projects at the same time with one of those areas which cannot be done through microtasking. And that's why I decided to record the video to explain where you should not expect Zerocracy and microtasking to help you, and you need something else. The area is about UI and UX, meaning that the front end of your application, of your mobile app or your website. Microtasking is a great concept for back-end development and for front-end as well, but development. Microtasking is perfect solution for the work which is a manufacturing work, where people are supposed to do things which are perfectly defined, which have perfectly defined borders. The UI, the design of a front end, is something which is difficult or impossible to break down into pieces, to define the borders of work. This is more like art. It's not a manufacturing process. It's something which has to be creative. The person who is doing that has to be a creative person. You can't ask a Java programmer to make the front-end interface look bright and look beautiful and look useful for end users, because the Java programmer doesn't know how to do that. And even if you tell that programmer through microtasks what are the steps that needs to be done in order to improve things, it's not going to help. Right now we're having a conversation in our Telegram group right now with a mobile app developer, and he's telling me that when I'm complaining about the look and feel of the mobile app, that I need to submit tickets, that I need to tell him exactly what needs to be improved, and then he will go back to the software and improve that things. But I cannot do that, even though I am like a UI designer in this particular combination. So I feel that I know what needs to be done. I don't know exactly, I have a feeling what needs to be done. And it's difficult for me to explain that person what to improve. All I can do is just try myself on my laptop, install that mobile app maybe, or open the web app, and then play with it a little bit. And then that's how I will decide what needs to be improved. So I have to be not just part of the development process, I have to be inside the application to try multiple times before I know what looks good. So my point is that if you want your application to look great and you really pay attention to the UI part, and it's an important part of any software, of any business, because that's what users perceive when they open your app, when they start using your business, your technical solution. You have to separate those two activities. Writing code, development code, manufacturing the software, it's one part. And that's a perfect area for microtasking. Another part is the UI, and that's a creative work, that's art, which you delegate to somebody else. The first group are freelancers. They can be managed through Zerocracy, or you can manage them somehow else through microtasking. Those people are producers of code, and we can organize them, we can discipline them. The second category, those people are artists. We cannot discipline them the way we discipline programmers. You need to find a different method of motivating them. Maybe you can give them some bonus when they finish working on your app. Maybe you can give them some equity. Maybe you pay them by the hour. Maybe you make them partners. I don't know how exactly, but you find a way to motivate them. And then you find a way somehow to integrate those two groups, to let designers, artists, to work with developers very closely and make sure they understand each other. The best way, of course, for developers to understand designers is through tickets or the source code. The tickets is not the best solution, I can tell you, just like in this example. Artists will have hard time explaining programmers what needs to be improved. A better way is to connect them through the source code. Developers create everything, they make templates, they make sure the code works, they put all the pieces on the screen which connect to each other through JavaScript or through the backend somehow. And those pieces look like placeholders. So they don't look bright, they don't look great, but they just work. And then designers get into the repository and change the templates and put the look and feel on top of templates. Put the images, put the colors, put the CSS style sheets, all those stuff on top of templates. Ideally, you should find a way to make sure that they do not conflict their changes do not conflict. So when designers change the templates, they don't disturb programmers, they don't break the code. How you do that depends on many factors, like your framework, whether you have the CSS, whether you use HTML or a templating system. There will be many technical questions. I'm not going to answer them now. There are multiple solutions. But my bottom line is that those two groups, programmers and artists, have to be managed differently, and you have to find a way how to connect them to each other. So don't expect Zerocracy or any microtasking platform to provide you UI people, and those UI people will make sure your application looks great. You find those people somewhere else, those artists, those creative people, and then you connect them with the army of freelancers, with the army of code producers and developers. That's what I think about UI. Unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know, but that's the reality. That's my experience over the last 10 years of working with programmers and designers. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned. Bye-bye.